to say on this.
Okay, we'll go on to the next question. What is your stand on legalizing marijuana? If you justify it, then how do you plan on stopping the drug war plaguing our society? Marijuana or any other drug like poppy seeds were not the cause of the recent 47 shootings in Surrey. Marijuana is not the root cause of the unlawful activities in Surrey. What are your opinions on it? Please, go ahead.
So I have a background, as most of you know. I spent almost 40 years in law enforcement, so I think I have a fairly good idea about the damage that marijuana can do as a gateway drug. But to answer the specific question, my party and me personally, I'm in favor of the decriminalization of marijuana, which simply means that the possession of small amounts for personal use would not be would be a ticketable offense rather than a criminal offense. The problem with making it a criminal offense, of course, is that it has the potential to interfere later in life with obtaining a passport, passing between countries, and that kind of thing. It is true that the drug war that has taken place in Surrey, has probably very little to do with the marijuana trade. It has a lot to do with injectable drugs and other synthetic drugs. And that is a curse on any society. And we have to be careful that we ensure that while if we choose to liberalize, pardon the phrase, if we liberalize the use of marijuana, then we're very confident.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
The Liberal platform is very clear. We will legalize and regulate marijuana. It comes down to the simple fact that it's easier for a kid to get a joint than it is to get a case of beer. Not only that, to decriminalize it only, you leave the production and the profits in the hands of organized crime. So looking at it very pragmatically, especially in light of the fact that organized crime injects marijuana with poisons like fentanyl, you need quality control, you need to control how it's sold, you need to maybe generate a few dollars in tax revenue, and you need to treat it like cigarettes, like alcohol, to make it harder for the vulnerable kids to get their hands on it. Taking the profits out of it for organized crime might mean they'll just go looking for something else, but it's a good start, especially when all of the strategies to date really haven't worked to deal with the issue of marijuana.
Just to extend the 30 seconds to a minute right now, I'm going to add another spin to it. We know there's been 100 RCMPs that officers have been allotted for Surrey. Do you think those 100 officers are going to help to deal with the situation that we have? If not, what other things that you think your government will do to ensure that Surrey is a safe Surrey? We'll go ahead with Cam. And you have 1 minute to answer that.
So 100 police officers, new police officers, have been promised to Surrey detachment by the federal government, by the Harper Conservatives. They're not here, and it will be at least a year before they are here in total. It's a bit of a false analogy always to expect that the simple addition of policemen is going to make crime go away. What is more important than the numbers of policemen is the way those policemen are deployed. In other words, what is the work that they are doing? Are they doing work of highest value? Are they being sidetracked by other issues that are less important and perhaps not even their job? When I was at Surrey Detachment, for example, 40% of all of our calls for service had a mental health base. And the police department is neither trained nor equipped to deal with issues of that magnitude. And while we were doing that work, of course, other work was suffering. Suffice it to say that the problem...
Mr. Hardie, thank you.
I think that we need to deal with some issues within the RCMP. The fact that the federal government has frozen their wages for years and years means that those officers are underpaid relative to the other forces, and as a result the RCMP loses qualified people to Vancouver Police, Delta Police, even the Transit Police, where I know personally very many capable officers have landed. But we need a more comprehensive look at this. The Harper government cut 1,000 people from the Canada Border Service Agency. Those are the people that are supposed to stop drugs and guns from coming back and forth across the border. The lack of that support makes policing in Surrey much more difficult. As well, the Harper Conservatives have done a lousy job of making laws. They try and get tough on crime, but they're inevitably tossed out of court, and the RCMP officer's job in Surrey becomes just that more frustrating. So really we need a very holistic, comprehensive view. It isn't just more about boots on the ground.